morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. I see a few names I know, and I see a lot of names I don't. So we're happy to have you all here. Nicole and Sean and Mike and Lou and Larry and Joe and Frank and David and Dan and Steve and Stephen and Alan. All right, and Carol. Awesome. If you guys and gals would be so kind as to put in the chat where you're joining from, that would be cool. We'd love to see where in the country or the world or you are joining us from today. Madison, Wisconsin, right on. Very good, thank you, Stephen. He's right on the ball. Mike from Colorado, Chilliwack, BC, Roseburg, Texas, Windsor, Ontario, Mason, Ohio, Bellingham, Washington, right here in town. All right, Jenkins, Minnesota, San Diego, Salt Lake City, awesome. Well, welcome everybody. My name is Paul Van Meter. I'm one of the founders of ProShop, and I'm excited for, I think, a very important topic today. Really excited to have Brian Anderson, who's on our team, and Chris Townsend of Brown County High School and Eagle Manufacturing join us. So say hi, guys, and I'd love, Chris, for you to give a little intro of who you are, what you do, and why you're here.
Sure. Welcome everybody. Good morning for some of you, and good afternoon for me. My name is Chris Townsend. I am one of the advisors for Eagle Manufacturing, which is a student-run business housed here at Brown County High School in Nashville, Indiana. We're just, I'll go a little bit more later about Eagle Manufacturing, I think, but just excited to be on here and kind of talk about this topic and some of the things that we've done and potential solutions and recommendations we have for machine shops that are looking to bring more talent into their businesses.
Awesome, Chris. And Brian, you want to say hello?
Yeah, hi. Good morning, everyone. It's morning for me still, so I'm going to go with that. But so some of you know me, some of you don't, but I'm a machinist by trade. I work here at ProShop doing the technical bit here, showing people the software. I am definitely a very, very big proponent of getting more and more people involved in the machinist trade. So that's, I'm really kind of excited about this topic today, but yeah, welcome. A little bit of housekeeping while I've got the mic here. So we have a chat, which is great if you want to say hello, throw a little shout out of any sort. But we also have a Q&A section on the Zoom link. So if you have any specific questions that you want to ask, please go ahead and put them in the Q&A pop-up, and we'll try to address as many of those as we can and get through them maybe in real time. Some of them we're going to save until the end, and hopefully, like I said, we'll have some time to answer all of those questions.
Awesome, Brian. Thank you very much. Okay, well, let's get going here. I got my speaker notes pulled up here. So what are we here today to talk about? We're here to discuss strategies and ideas for you to be able to hire and retain employees and grow your business. I put this little funnel picture here. Many of the things we're going to talk about are just exactly like the way you attract customers to your business, right? You have a stage of where they start to be aware of your company. Through more engagement, they get interest and then ultimately desire, and then action in terms of either getting a new customer or getting an employee. And then from there, of course, we want them to further amplify that and become, a passionate advocate of your business to help you continue the process with new employees. So here's what the agenda is. We're going to give a little bit of the history of ProShop, why we're here talking about this today. Chris is going to go into more detail about the program he has. We're going to talk about always be selling, building your culture, onboarding experiences, how technology can help, and then at the very end, how ProShop is helping with this with our clients, and then some Q&A. So as Brian said, if you have questions at any time, please put them in the Q&A thing at the bottom of your Zoom window there, and we will get to those at the end. All right, well, let's talk a little bit about the history of ProShop. I know some of you have been on these webinars before, but for those who have not, ProShop originally started as a machining company. So we, my partners and I started a company called ProCNC straight out of college in 1997. That was our tiny little 2,000 square foot warehouse before we put any paint on the walls. And we started knocking on doors and growing the shop. And as we grew that company. We always wanted to be a paperless company, so we started making some pretty cool Excel spreadsheets that we thought were pretty fancy with Visual Basic macros and doing all this cool stuff. But eventually that wasn't going to scale with us. So about 3 years later, we realized we were outgrowing it. And so we looked at software programs out on the market, couldn't find anything we thought was worth buying. So we instead hired a software developer just to build something internally for ourselves. Never intended to sell it to anyone else, and just kept growing the company, plugging away for years again. We had pretty strong growth for the next many years. And ProShop really was the backbone of that growth in many ways. And then in 2008, fate kind of took a turn, and our biggest machine shop customer approached us and asked us to sell ProShop to them. We said no. They said please. We finally did it. And it went so well that they started referring us to other companies. We brought on a few more shops, and then we made the decision to sell the company and go full-time into software. So in 2014, with about 75 employees and more than 30 machines, we sold the business entirely and launched ProShop as a software company. So that's our journey. So we've hired a lot of people, attracted a lot of employees. Brian will share his experience a little later about working for ProCNC. But we're going to start first by this is a longer term proposition, but we're going to talk about how you can get involved with local trade schools, high schools, and build a pipeline to grow talent that's going to join your company. So I'd love to first just kind of talk about some of the concepts, and then we'll have Chris talk about his program. So in almost every state and community around the country, there are local technical colleges. More and more high schools are starting to do this as well. And by investing time, a bit of money, and just attention to those schools, they can become an incredible pipeline for getting new young talent into the industry and into your company. They're not going to come with a ton of skills, but that's okay. You can train them, but they'll be eager and interested in working for your company. So Chris, why don't you tell us a little bit about Eagle and how you've been involved with some other companies in the area, and how a company somewhere else in the world might get involved with a local school like yours.
Thanks, Paul. Appreciate it. So as I said earlier, my name is Chris Townsend, advisor for Eagle Manufacturing here in Brown County, Indiana. Just a little brief overview of Eagle Manufacturing. We're going into our third full year of operation this fall. And we have a summer internship right now where we have about 36 students participating. During the school year, we have about 25 to 30, give or take. And we're a full-fledged machine shop, as well as other aspects as well. So we have a machining side of our business, we have an engineering side, and then we also have a graphic side of our business that does promotional products and things of that nature. And we've been involved with several organizations here locally. Cummins world headquarters is located about 20 minutes from us, and they've been a good partner for us, that we've been able to work with them. Obviously, ProShop has been a great partner for us as well, and we've been able to kind of over the past almost 2 years, coming up on 2 years now, year and a half or so, work with ProShop. And for me, for local machine shops that are really looking to reach out to your local schools, honestly, it really just takes doing that, like just literally reaching out, finding a contact, whether that's a principal or an instructor or somebody along those lines, that you can just send an email or give a phone call or even just stop by and ask to speak with them. Because honestly, schools and instructors have a lot of the same problems you guys do, which is that we're busy all the time. And we try to make time to reach out to local businesses and local machine shops to make those connections. But a lot of time, just like I'm sure has happened with you guys, it kind of goes by the wayside when you get busy with jobs and all sorts of other things. So I know it sounds really basic and really simple, but to me, that's the starting point, is just making that connection and just being willing to have that conversation and see how you can partner. I think a lot of schools are really interested in partnering with local industry. And from a teaching perspective, I can say that me reaching out and having partners and building those partnerships so our students can benefit, really makes our school, makes me look good, makes our students look good, and makes our school corporation in general look good. So a lot of these schools are really wanting those type of connections, honestly, just solely for the purpose of it makes them look like they're getting out into the community and doing new things. So I think you're going to find that if you reach out to and find some of these schools that have some of these programs, whether that's technical colleges or high school programs or career centers, any of those, depending on what area you're in, you're going to find some pretty willing people to make a connection to and start building a relationship. And it's definitely not as Paul mentioned, it's definitely not a quick overnight process for sure. It's something that you're going to have to work at a little over time and kind of build into a longer term partnership that can help benefit both the program that you're working with from your partnership and your expertise, but as well as start building that pipeline of students coming out of that program to your shop. And that's the kind of thing I think that most machine shops want, or any manufacturer wants, is those partnerships where they kind of know what they're getting. And if you build those partnerships, you can help kind of shape and give your advice and, get on advisory boards or other different types of things you can do with these programs to help give them advice and shape what they're teaching. That way, when those students come out of that program, kind of know for the most part what you're getting, and you can kind of help shape what that is.
Awesome, Chris. Thank you. And we have here up on the slide. This is a ProShop customer, but not that far from you guys. Olson Custom Designs, and they reached out recently based on, I think, something that they saw on social media about our engagement with you. And you had students go up, and can you just share a little bit about what's happening there?
Absolutely, yeah. So we actually made a trip up last year, initially right where we were coming on board with you guys, and we happened to be in the area for another event, and they were a ProShop customer that was up in that area, and they were gracious enough to let us come in and give us an awesome tour. And then here recently, we had some things come out on social media with you guys, a video and a few other things, and that kind of jogged their memory, and they kind of reached out to you, and you made the connection over to me. And we had them in our shop last Thursday, just kind of discussing about the future partnership that we can have, and some students we have now that are graduating that might be good fits for them moving into their shop, and then also starting to have them come in on a yearly basis, participating in our advisory board potentially, and then building that partnership forward so we can start having a pipeline of kids that have the qualities that they're looking for, all of those employability skills, the problem solving, professional etiquette, showing up on time, reliability, all those different types of things that we really emphasize, and is really what we are here for our students coming into their shops. And I think that's really what they're looking for.
That's fantastic. Yeah, and we kind of failed to mention it, but a couple of years ago, we donated ProShop to Eagle Manufacturing, and they now run their machine shop and their fab business, or their graphics business with ProShop. So, and just shameless plug for them, we get all of our gear from them, our shirts, our hoodies, our hats. Customers get all that stuff. So they are a fantastic supplier for us as well. So definitely, if you need promotional stuff and promoting a good cause, definitely talk to Chris or his students at Eagle. Well, thank you so much, Chris. I appreciate you sharing that. Chris will be staying on the meeting. He's going to drop off just on video, but he will be around. So if you have questions for him at the end, he will come back on and share any answers that he might have for you guys. So thank you again.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. And if you guys need anything, feel free to reach out. I can get my contact information to Paul. So
yeah, and we'll have it on the last slide. Awesome. Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
All right. So this is happening all over the place, right? And we're just going to highlight a couple of other companies that are engaging in this. So I know that Matt Goosey at MRS Machining has been deeply involved with Cardinal Manufacturing, another high school program. And Matt recently told me that they have hired 8 different students out of that program that have all come in as employees of their shop and have done great. We have a new customer also in the Wisconsin area called Precision Machine Inc., and they have a program that they are working with the local high schools. So I think we have a video link of a YouTube link that we're going to drop into the chat. So feel free to grab that link and And you can watch that on your own later. But yeah, just, I mean, there's so many opportunities to get involved with programs like this. So let's talk next about at sort of the college level or community college level. And I'll let Brian take over here because Brian, you were deeply involved with Bellingham Technical College. And why don't you share a little bit about what we did there?
Yeah. So I actually don't even remember how it got started. It was actually that long ago, but essentially we actually had two people most of the time involved on the advisory board for the machining program. And with that, but with being on the advisory board, we were able to meet 2 or 3 times a year with them, talk about what the curriculum was, help actually shape what the program was going to do to make sure that the students could graduate with the skills that we and other manufacturers in the area were looking for. And we had big manufacturers, oil and gas companies, small job shops, and kind of everything in between. So there was a really healthy mix on the advisory board of industry representatives to get in and, like I said, sort of shape that. One of the things that happened over time was we were realizing that the program wasn't actually funded well enough to give the students all of the opportunities that they needed to really kind of match the skills that we were all looking for. So we really took a long look at being able to consistently donate items. So whether that's leftover raw materials, cutting tools that were either still had life in them or were just being retired from our active tool library. It could have come in monetary form, but really what it was is recognizing what the program needed and what the students needed to get the skills that we were looking for, and helping them get there. And sometimes that was actually, helping them write grants and letters of recommendation for that sort of a thing. So there's lots of different ways to be involved in the program to help shape what it is. And then, of course, when students are graduating, they're usually looking for job placement right away. And when you have that connection, you can also host, just like Olson Custom Design did, you can host students coming in, doing tours of the facility. You can go in and you can talk to students. And that really provides a really deep connection early on. So when they are looking for employment right out, they have a sense of where it is they might want to go. And, oh, I want to work for that company. They've kind of got what I'm looking for. Oh, this company's using this tech. That's what I really wanted to focus on. And so we were able to consistently hire qualified employees pretty much every year that we were growing from this tech school. And it was a win for the student. It was a win for us as a company. And it was a win for the school because they were able to better structure their program. They were able to get better funding. Again, some of that was donations, and really help with their job placement. That's really a huge goal of any of the tech centers that I've worked with, is that they want to have their students graduate with a job in place or very, very close to that. So all said, I mean, we easily hired over 20 people from that program in the time that I can remember. Again, all of this kind of boiled into the results that we saw. It's a long-term investment approach for sure, but absolutely worth it. Absolutely, you don't hire all of the students, but when you get a chance to form kind of how they're learning and what they're learning about, there's just no drawback to that at all.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. And as a kind of another fun little tidbit about that. So out of those 20 plus people we hired 2 brothers, one straight out of the program, one that had been in industry about a year or 2. They were fantastic employees for us. They ended up starting their own machine shop, becoming an awesome supplier for us. And then just last week, they became a ProShop client. So yep. Full circle, it's been a great with them, but yeah, can't stress more importantly, how important it is to get involved in these programs. we just shared in the chat, Andrew Jones, thank you very much for, looks like skilledkc.org. I haven't looked at the link myself, but that is cool. We're going to share some other links coming up in the future as well. But yeah, another great point here. Thank you, Brian. All right, next main point. You need to always be selling to potential employees. Like I started at the beginning, just like you're always trying to sell your services to clients, you need to be doing that all the time with prospective employees. Even when you're not hiring, you should have things on social media about your company picnic, about your party, about the benefits of working at your shop. This is a picture from one of our customers as well, Trillium Machine in Portland. I know we'll actually share some specific stories about them later. So you need to always just kind of have that shining light of what your company is like, why it's so great to work for you, and people will see that. I want to outline here a company that we believe is doing an amazing job at this. This is CARR Machine and Tool near Chicago. Many of you probably also know the Making Chips podcast. Jim Carr is the co-host of that podcast, but they have really invested some time and some money into making their shop a great place to work and really shining that out into the industry. So these are just a few screenshots from their careers page. Right here at the top, they have a nice video. They have these points down here about their culture, being technology driven, about their collaborative environment. Further down, they talk about some of their core values and how that translates into working for them. Further down, they talk about all their great benefits, which are important, of course. Then at the very bottom of their page, yeah, there's the link in there. Thank you, Sarah. They have even individual videos for the different positions they're hiring for. Right now, these videos, they don't need to be super fancy. You can do things with your cell phone, an iMovie. It's amazing what you can do on your phone these days, right? But the idea is just put some attention into doing more than just putting up a job listing that says, wanted skilled machinist, must have 5 years of experience, please apply below, right? That's just not going to cut it anymore. It's amazing how many job ads I see like that, and you go to their careers page and it's just a very brief description of what the position is and a button to apply, right? The competition is just so fierce these days, you just got to get more creative and put more attention into that. So sort of once you, one of the elements, of course, of advertising is how great your company is to work for, which really comes down to culture to a large degree. So it is deeply important to have just an amazing culture. It improves so many different things from engagement and retention. Employees these days, especially younger folks, people coming in the millennial generation and the Gen Z generation, they really care about those things a lot. And I think possibly even more than the older generation did. They want to feel like they are working for something important. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in a little bit, that they have opportunities for advancement. So it's really important to invest time to build these. There's lots of great resources and books out there on building great cultures. And we're going to actually, speaking of that, we're going to have Brian share a little bit of just his personal experience working for the machine shop, ProCNC, and some of the things that we did there. And we did have very low turnover and really didn't have ever having recruiting and hiring be a major obstacle to our growth over the years. So Brian, I'd love for you to share some of this stuff.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, I'm a machinist by trade, and I actually graduated high school from a tech program, and I started in a machine shop right away. I got placement and went out into the field and started working. I worked for several different companies along the way, and it was actually in 2000, the same year that we started to develop ProShop, that I was really kind of tired of where I was working. I just felt that I was a lot was asked of me. I did a lot of overtime. My ideas weren't really heard. It just it seemed like a grind, and I was young. And that just didn't seem right, that I was just grinding away at what I was doing and not really feeling like there was much opportunity for me, that there was advancement for me, etc. So my brother actually had already been working with you guys, and he said, well, hey, you should come check this out. It's a small company. There's opportunity here. So I kind of looked at it and thought, all right, well, it does look small with the idea that they want to grow. And that was really, really appealing to me. I saw the opportunity and I went in. And the interview was completely different than anything I had ever experienced before. So right away, I got the sense that they wanted to get to know me as an employee and not just what I could do out on the shop floor. They really wanted to know a lot about me, about what my goals were professionally, also some personally. Like they were interested in my life, which was incredibly appealing to me. So I came on. I think I was employee number 8 is what I was back then, and from that point all the way working through the entire history there, I always felt like I was an important part of the company. I grew from being a machinist on the shop floor. I did just about everything you can imagine on the manufacturing side of the company, whether it was project management, scheduling, inspection, even some purchasing. I mean, you name it. I was involved in a lot of different areas, again, which was really, really huge to me professionally and personally, to be that involved and that valued as an employee. I got to be friends with all of my coworkers, everybody, even the founders, so the owners of the company, everybody that I worked with. It was just, I can't, it's simply impossible to overstate how great of an environment that we worked in, and how we, even through the rough times, we all banded together to get through it all, and come up with a lot of really great ideas about what to do in so many different situations. And on top of that, we had a great benefits package. Compensation was phenomenal. I got to live in an incredible area, which was something that I didn't know at the time that was really appealing to me. I kind of grew into that, where we live and work in Bellingham, but the area is great. There's a lot of different things here that really, again, from a personal perspective, supported what I wanted. We had a food program, which was great. So when you think about these, a lot of people think about them in the .coms and the tech companies where you go in and you get breakfast or whatever. Well, we had that. So when I went to work, I could get started right away. I could take a quick break. I could go grab a snack. Lunches, I didn't have to go anywhere. I didn't have to drive 10 minutes, cram lunch down and then drive back another 10 minutes, or always brown bag it. I always had the option of having a meal there, which, again, as just it's a small thing, but it made a really, really big difference and made me more productive. So I was really able to take that food program and just keep chugging along. It was really awesome. So anyway, all of those things really made it a great place to work and then also grow. And we had a reputation actually for when we were hiring people about what to expect. It was actually out there in the community and amongst other machinists about, hey, this place is a little different. So.
Awesome, Brian. Thank you. Yeah, for that food program, just for your interest, it started out where we would just keep a fully stocked kitchen for free. And we did that, I don't know, until we were a certain size, and then it got a bit expensive. So we went to a $20 optional opt-in per week. And then we kept a fully stocked kitchen so people could come in, grab breakfast, grab lunch, anytime they wanted. And yeah, the machinist would start their machine running, and while their cycle's going, they'd go grab a quick bite, a sandwich or something, and then come back, and the spindles were kept on turning that whole time. So it was undoubtedly a good return on our investment as well. And it just added to that sort of great family feel.
And it probably made us all a little healthier than eating fast food every day as well. So I'll throw that out there.
Yes. Just a few other things that we did there at the company. We had an open book policy. So we shared all the financials of the company. Every month we would have an all company meeting. We would share, our revenues, our profits, our losses. We would talk about jobs that went great and people would share those successes. We would talk about jobs that didn't go great. We would have people share those failures. But we always focused on how we can improve our process, improve the company, improve our systems. It was never pointing fingers at an individual employee for doing a bad job. And I think they really appreciated the fact that we were caring for them, and we knew that they're human. People make mistakes, but we're there as a team to grow and get better together. So that was some of our success. This is a new thing. We're going to take a quick break while we hear from our sponsor. This is actually a fun little series of videos, and actually Sean on this call, Sean from Camtech, this was actually shot at his shop right here in town. It's only 30 seconds, so let's check this out. It's just a fun little clip.
Nope, I don't think we have the audio.
Okay, hold on. I knew I was going to mess that up. Hold on. Let me actually stop my share real quick. We tested this, and then when we, where is my controls for Zoom? There they are. All right, I'm going to stop this. I'm going to reshare using share sound. There we go. That's the one. And screen 2. There we go. Back again. I apologize, folks. Let me enter full screen again. Okay. So actually, this is in a little ways, also talking about how to make a great place to work and your culture. So let's just play this. All right. And for those astute watchers, that kid does look pretty similar to me because that is my son. So he's not a machinist, but I'm trying hard to get him into that. So, all right. All right, you need a why. I listened to a great book on audio recently by Simon Sinek called Start With Why. And it's important for so many reasons, for both attracting customers, but also attracting employees, right? I mentioned earlier about, especially this younger generation really cares about why they're working somewhere, not just what they're doing. So, a why is a belief about, what's important in your company, and and the how that you apply to that why are the actions you take to realize those beliefs that you have. And the results of those actions are the what that you do. And those three things, the why, the how, and the what, are actually what is needed to build trust. And trust will result in better employee retainment, and just it's just such an important thing. And so I definitely recommend not just when you're hiring employees, when you're advertising out there, it's not just what you're doing, it's why you're doing it, right? It's like, why is it important to come join our company? What is our mission? Looking at the website pages from CARR Machine, they put their mission statement right up there, right? And I think it really is important to put some emphasis and focus on really what makes your company different. And that just, when people believe in your mission, they're just going to be better employees, they're going to work harder, they're going to satisfy customers better. And it's just a super important point. So I wanted to share that.
Yeah, if you to kind of take that in another direction there, Paul, you know, one of the things that always kind of strikes me about this concept is that when you're an employee, when you go to work, you're actually making an investment, right? So you know, you don't just, you know, give your money to a financial advisor and say, well, just, you know, I don't know, I don't know what I want to do with it. Like, just here, I'm supposed to give you money, so here's money. No, like you say, well, I want to make more money, or I want to retire with this, or I want to do that. So having a why when you go to work helps you with your career path. You know, obviously it's going to help you pay your bills and do all of those things, but if you think about this again from an employee perspective, and then as a company you can offer this perspective, well, what are you looking for in your career path, and why are you looking for it actually first, and then you know, and then what is it to get there? I think that's one of the things that I learned about the time that I came on at ProCNC was really like, why am I doing this every day? I needed to have an answer to that, and that's one of the things that I think ProCNC helped me with.
Awesome. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate that. So when you do attract those people, you need to have a great onboarding experience. And one of our customers focused on machining in Colorado. They've put a ton of time and effort into just an incredible onboarding experience. So they have all sorts of documents and videos and things that they give their employees when they first come on. We're going to share a little, the next slide here. So again, they share their mission and values right away with their employees. And then there's a series of videos from current employees that they share with the employees that are just being recruited. And I love this one so much. We're just going to play this real quick. It's only like 30 seconds. But this is the kind of thing clearly shot on a cell phone, not a huge time investment, but something that just makes kind of that meaningful touch. And I just loved her energy. So let's hear this.
Hi guys, my name is Chelsea. I'm the office manager. I can help you with things like ProShop, including time clock punch, different time tracking things that could help you in your ProShop endeavors, and as well as handling the shipping. I also do the reports on the focus board daily to ensure efficiency. You'll go over that in your onboarding training, but we can talk about that as well. Me personally, I'm a dog owner and I like hiking, camping, different outdoorsy kind of things. But if there is anything that I can do to welcome you to the team, I'm more than happy. Welcome.
Right, that's so fantastic, right? I just having a series of short little videos like that, you know, from current employees welcoming you is just, it's just fantastic. So wanted to share that. Let's see, let's go to the next. All right. So the next, once they're inside your company and you've had a great welcome and they're feeling like they're starting to be part of the family, you need, especially for those employees that are coming on maybe in a little more of a junior format, they don't have a ton of experience, it's really wise to start building and investing in internal training programs. So we did that pretty deeply at ProCNC, and we're going to outline a couple other companies that are doing a great job of that as well. But the concept here is, and this is, I'm definitely sharing some of the things that kind of we thought about at ProCNC and the way we approach this. And we have some blog posts about this coming up as well, where starting with really specific job titles, with outlines of exactly what the roles and responsibilities are, you know, what that equates to in pay and benefits, and then building a framework of what skills and proficiencies that those employees need to be considered fully trained in each of those roles, and outlining a roadmap of what that can look like for advancement into the future. So what we're seeing on the screen here, this is a company position for a setup machinist, right? We have the description of what the functions are, and then we have a list of all the training requirements, which feed into individual sort of video-based training or just hands-on training that might, you know, happen, you know, coincided with an employee, another employee. And then at the top, we can see the employees that are in that role and the percentages of training that they have towards being fully trained. So here's just another picture. So if you outline a roadmap of like, if you're coming in experienced, entry-level operator, and if you provide that sort of that advancement, that roadmap for advancement, and then really engage, showing them that you're interested in their advancement, giving them the tools and the information they need to kind of take the lead themselves, that can make a huge difference, right? And again, doing videos, video training can be a really great tool to, that don't take a whole ton of time to create, and employees can make use of those. So I wanted to shout out to a company that's really progressive and doing some great stuff on this side of things, along with some other companies. But there's a company in Utah called Leanworks. Reed Leland is one of the owners there, and I know that they worked with about, I think, 9 other shops, and the Northern Utah chapter of the NTMA. And they actually got a $150,000 workforce development grant that partially went to building this website, machinutah.org, where they talk about the apprenticeship program that they've built. Okay, there's a question.
Yeah, we'll take that.
I think. Okay, that just came in the chat.
Yeah,
sure. So as part of that grant program, they actually built an internal training program that they call their Technical Excellence Training, and it's a career development path in their internal, apprenticeship program. So there's 10 different levels, starting from a brand new employee, going into an operator, senior operator, changeover technician, basically setup machinist. And then you can see that these are available to anyone in the company, that you can progress within just a few years. And then if there's openings for these, right, getting into programming, senior programming, and then ultimately all the way up to senior process engineer. And so they've put together about 200 little videos, about 5 minutes a piece. I know that they did also work with some of the programs out there, like the NTMA University, Tooling U, NIMS training, to make sure that what they were teaching was in alignment with some of the sort of industry standard. But they've even been written up in Modern Machine Shop, and they even won one of the top shops award for their HR practices a few years ago for their incredible work in building this apprenticeship program. So big shout out to them for that.
I really like the time frames that they've put on there, and the as you mentioned, the availability and what was the requirement for an opening and that kind of stuff. It's very, very clear, which is just a great representation. Yeah.
Again, this is not an overnight thing, but growing a company into a great long-standing company is not an overnight thing as well. So yeah, they've done an incredible job here. All right, next kind of main shift change is talking about technology, how technology can help with this lack of machinists that are coming into the industry. So as we've talked about a little earlier with some of the investing into the programs to help them improve their technology and have the students learn the skills that you want to have when they come into your company. Keeping up to date on the latest kind of machines and software and other technology is a really important factor in this. It's really kind of win-win. You can attract new talent because they're excited to come work on some of the newest equipment, and some of that new automation can also help fill in some of the gaps that you may not be able to find with employees, right? So if we, robots are a prime example, right? They are becoming more and more affordable, much easier to set up. They're used in, low volume, high mix environments more and more often these days. And quite honestly, I think from the companies I've talked to and all the papers I've read about this, robots are not there to really replace people. They're there to augment what people are doing to get higher productivity and allow the employees to move into positions that are more interesting, more value added. They're not just sitting there doing something monotonous all day long, just opening doors and changing parts out. And And I know a lot of the companies that have, employed robots have also, hired a lot as well, right? But they're hiring into more fun and interesting positions, or their employees are getting promoted up into those positions of programming the robots, or being managing machines that are running robots rather than doing that button pushing themselves. There's lots of tools for software, of course, that can help augment people's skills, make things easier, eliminate tribal knowledge, and allow less experienced people to do more sophisticated work. We had a client, and actually this is a screenshot from their company. There's a machinist standing there in front of a monitor out on the shop floor with an incredible set of pictures of exactly how to set up a job. And I was actually at that client's site a couple of years ago. This is actually his Trillium machine in Portland, Oregon. And I was there into the evening hours. And so it was on night shift. Most people on days had gone home. And there was a young guy, probably in his mid-20s. And he was sitting there and he was setting up one of their 5-axis mills. And I was just chatting with him. I said, hey, how long have you worked here? And he said, oh, only about 6 months. And I said, okay, cool, right? And I thought to myself, he's been here 6 months. He's setting up 5-axis mills. I'm like, so what shop did you come from before? And he said, oh, I came from KFC. And I said, KFC, I don't know KFC. What shop is that? And he said, no, I mean Kentucky Fried Chicken. And I said, is this your first machining job? And he said, yes. And I said, how is it that you are setting up a 5-axis mill on nights by yourself, and you've only been in the machining business 6 months? And he said, well, come take a look. And he showed me the photos and the videos and everything that they had put in, the more experienced people had put into the system. And he was clearly good with his hands. He had mechanical aptitude, but he was setting up a 5-axis mill on night shift only 6 months into being a machinist. So he may have been a particularly special talent as well, but the point is that there are ways that you can sort of provide information to people in a way that makes it much more accessible for them to do more sophisticated work. I know that we have another customer focused on machining that we mentioned earlier. They just recently put in a second shift, and they felt like the ability to capture tribal knowledge embedded into a software system was one of the main things that allowed them to have a successful second shift, right? And beforehand, they just felt like that was not something that was accessible to them. Through increased efficiency, software and other technology can help you free up time from doing more monotonous tasks that might require positions. One of our software partners is a company called HiQA. They make balloon tagging software. There's several other out there like that in the market, but their software does such an amazing job of automating the process of dimension tagging, a drawing and creating an inspection plan that, depending on, for some companies, they do so much of that it's almost a full-time job for someone to just sit there and balloon drawings all day long, right? And instead of spending hours and hours doing that, with their software, you can just spend minutes doing that, right? Another shop of ours in the Massachusetts area, and we hear this all the time, but this one was particularly notable. One of the things we always say in our sales pitches is you will free up overhead staff, right? And this shop, Marzilli Machine, Jamie there, he said, there's no way I'm freeing up anyone in my company. Everyone is essential. I'm only 20 people. I only have like 4 or 5 people in the office. But sure enough, he freed up a full-time person. That person moved into a more of a direct quality position. So they were helping with the throughput and the quality of the company, and they just didn't need them doing these administrative tasks every day. So there's definitely examples, and there's lots of incredible software out there that help employees do more in less time and free up their time to do better things. All right. So I wanted to share this, and I am going to play this video It's a little less than 2 minutes long, I think, but it kind of outlines some of what I'm talking about in terms of making your company attractive to potential employees, and then reducing the friction of how they do their jobs every day, so you can retain them better than you might otherwise. So let's take a quick watch on this one here.
ProShop's helped us attract new employees because they could see how organized we are and how easy it is to actually perform their job, to make their life easier.
ProShop's made my job easier by being efficient. I enjoy the organization of it. That was actually one of the large reasons I decided to work for East Branch Engineering, was their usage of ProShop and just the way you can organize with the system.
We want to equip our people with what we believe are the best tools to do their job. I don't want anyone coming into work here and wondering if some of our competitors have an easier time of it because they have better equipment. And I'm confident that we are providing resources that are among the best that are available for what we're trying to accomplish.
I do feel like that people feel like they can work a little bit more independently and not always have to go get a guy to hold their hand or help them out every time. And they can kind of figure it out with ProShop.
We've had 3 employees in the past year that we've brought on, and that was really one of the things that attracted them. So it was really a game changer for employing people.
One of the biggest improvements we've had in ProShop is employee retention. Being able to retain our key employees, we feel that we have a competitive advantage over other shops.
The main thing is everyone's on the same page. They're really happy, and a happy employee makes a big difference. When your team's happy, you're happy.
It makes me better at my job just having it available. 100% 2 thumbs up, it's fantastic.
All right, let's minimize that. Okay. Oh, come on here. All right. So, like I said, obviously, we're here to spread the ProShop word as well, of course, but the same is true for all sorts of other, technologies that your shop can adopt to just make the lives easier and more fun of those employees that you're working with. All right, so let's talk specifically a little bit about how ProShop can help with some of these specifics beyond what we've already shared. So there was a question earlier, are job positions being managed within ProShop? So that came from Chad Jackson. Thank you, Chad, for that question. So yes, for sure. As we kind of showed in some of the earlier slides, ProShop does have a company positions module where you can outline the org chart and show what training is needed to be, considered trained in each of those roles. And then that feeds into our tasks module where you can outline really any task at all in the company, whether it's how to do, dialing in a vise, how to, use a bore gauge, how to do contract review at order entry, right? Whatever it might be, you can do that. So it really allows a quicker onboarding of employees, giving them a clear roadmap of what they need to do to get trained. And then, like I said earlier, and like how LeanWorks was doing that, a path of progression of how you can grow in the company if you want to. Our Flying Start package, which is the only really optional thing that we sell in ProShop, because all those company positions and training and tasks and all those modules, they just come with ProShop by default. Every client gets them, but they're typically empty of content. So we have built what we call this Flying Start package, which comes with a different library of positions and training topics that are sort of already pre-filled, so they can become the foundation of your training program. Clearly, using ProShop as a sales tool, as part of your pitch, your sales tool for how you want to recruit employees, right? You're no longer going to be working in a paper-based environment. You don't need to worry about lost job travelers or tribal knowledge, right? It's all digital. It's very modern. It's fun. And then again, as we mentioned before, those same things, those benefits, those features can absolutely help free up clerical staff to move them into more direct value-added positions. So you don't need to find a new employee to do that new work.
Yeah, another, sort of point on the training is that every time you hire an employee, you're training them anyway, right? You're helping show them how to do things within your company. It could be showing them how to run machines, if you're hiring somebody that doesn't have a lot of experience. So if you have a way to document that and really be able to see their progression along the way, they can see their progression along the way. That's just going to help you out in the long run, both for knowing what to do with that employee and also every employee after that and their progress in the company and kind of what holes might be there. And if you don't write that stuff down, yeah, sure, you're doing it, but you're kind of missing out on a big opportunity to really kind of leverage that into your effectiveness throughout the entire manufacturing process.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Brian. So along the lines of training and giving some of those skills, I didn't have a slide for it, but I would certainly be remiss if I didn't mention, and I'm sure most of you have seen Titan Gilroy and his Titans of CNC Academy. I know I've done some of those training videos with my sons, and they've learned how to model something in Fusion or Mastercam, how to put some simple G-code path to that, and then shortly we're actually going to go and actually machine some parts. But I do know of companies that have put some of their new employees through those training videos. They're totally free. They're out there, and so they can definitely be part of a sort of a foundation of just some basic machining and programming skills. So there's definitely resources out there. That is the entirety of our presentation. And open it up for more questions. There is a question here we'll start with. Do you have any companies in the Cincinnati, Ohio area that a group of our management, this is more about, sorry, that's more of a sales question. Yes, Todd, I think we'll have someone reach out to you with that question, or the answer to that question. Yes, any other questions at all about anything you've seen today? I know it's a lot to take in. And sometimes I know that this whole topic can be a little overwhelming, right? Because you're getting orders in, you're trying to ship product, you're trying to get things done. Who has the time to, write up, a whole training system or build an apprenticeship program system? But it is really important to find the time to invest in your own company, build those systems for the future. And get creative about recruitment, get creative about how to sort of shine the light of how great your company is to work for. And if you feel like you have some opportunities to make your company even better to work for, it's probably worth having some frank discussions with employees about what they can recommend that you can do better as a company. I know that at ProCNC, we even started doing formal employee surveys. How often did we do those, Brian? Like every 6 months or so?
I want to say, yeah, it was a 6-month cycle. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. And we even built it into ProShop. So you can run an employee survey, and we made it entirely anonymous. Our employees often didn't believe that it was totally anonymous. We built the software that's running the survey, but we genuinely did. And that feedback that we always got from from employees was really valuable, right? And we took that and we tried to not have, too much ego about if there was some critical feedback that we could improve from. But that was all part of our learning process of being better business owners and having a better company. So thank you so much for your time today. If you want to reach out to Chris Townsend, that is their address and his email address and their website. If you want to get in touch with us for any reason, there's a couple of our websites as well as our phone number and email. We'd be more than honored to talk to you. I hope that was useful today. It is definitely our goal to help inspire different folks out in the industry. Yeah, so Chad Jackson says, great presentation. The ideas make sense and seem obvious, but we get so caught up building product that we often forget how important it is to appeal to the employee. And Jesse says, thank you for sharing. Nail on the head. Awesome, guys. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate your investment in hearing us. Again, hopefully we provide you with some great ideas, and good luck finding employees and making them passionate advocates of your company. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again on the next webinar.
Thanks,
Take care,
everyone.
everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.